My hunch is that folks have always been 50 shades of gay. I wonder if instead of adding more glasses, we should stop trying to contain people within them. Perhaps, eventually, we'll rid ourselves of the glass system altogether. Faith, sexuality, and gender are fluid. No glasses, all see.
Wow. I'm Lotte.
And I'm Sanne.
Welcome to the first podcast of our new series from SRU Audio, Navigating Life.
Well, at least trying to.
Okay. Challenging. Navigating life, or at least we're trying to. So, what is this series? Well, we're two students. Mm-hmm. We're two friends, more importantly.
I would say so.
And, well, we love discussing, life together. And societal developments, I would say.
Sure.
We both have a background in politics, an educational background. Politics, international relations,
sociology,
economics. I mean, what not?
Law.
Well, a little bit. Not much interested in law. But anyways, we discuss that a lot together. And we love reading books. Both of us.
Yes.
And we figured, why not combine all of this into a podcast?
And why not record our very
interesting conversations. Would be nice, I think, to listen to them in 10 years.
Yeah. Even if no one else does.
Even if no one else does, it would be interesting where we are then in our lives. And what we're doing. Okay, Sanne.
Yeah.
What are we doing today? What are we discussing?
Give me a drum roll, please.
Drum.
Thank you. We are going to discuss Untamed by Glennon Doyle. She is an amazing feminist icon, a mother, a wife, and an amazing writer. And so today we're going to discuss one of her memoirs, which is called Untamed, as I've already said. And I'm so excited about it. I think this is like the first book that we both read.
Yeah.
At, like, not same time, but almost. Like,
almost.
And you were so excited about it, and you recommended it to me.
Yeah.
You lended me your book. And, I was excited because you were excited about it, and I got really excited because I thought it was amazing. It was so good. But I was wondering, I mean, I knew it was nice because you gave me, like, all the information I needed, but when you were reading the cover, what were you thinking?
Well, the cover is really colorful, I would say.
Yes.
So that's what I sort of expected from the book. Like, I expected it to be, I would say, a colorful book. And a book where she, I don't know, would explain her life, but more importantly, like, give, I don't know, the tips from her own life, and all the things she encountered. And I don't know actually how I found the book. I think it was on Instagram, where I just came across a post from Glennon Doyle, and I saw the book. No, I remember it. It was a picture from her and her wife, Abby, and it was on my Instagram Discover page. And I clicked on it because, well, two females, I mean, a book, a recommendation. I mean, let's go.
What more do you want?
And I saw the book Untamed, and I was really captured by the capture, actually, from Abby about the book. And I was like, okay, I'm going to order it.
Yeah. And
I was very, very excited for it. And also the cover, that's what you asked. I mean, it's very colorful. And I remember reading, like, I think the first few pages. And I was hooked. Like, it was, I don't know, great.
It's a book that doesn't take much time to get into.
No, it's like first few words and you're like, okay, I know I'm going to like this book.
Yeah.
I think I used like a marker, a complete like highlighter for the whole book, because you read my book.
I read your book.
And I warned you, like, don't look at all the highlighted pages.
But I like it when I get a book from somebody that they've already written in, because it gives me insight into that person as well, which is so nice.
And it makes discussing the book a bit easier.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I thought as well, when I was reading it, the chapters are quite short.
Yeah.
Which makes it also very nice to read, because you know that you can read it for just a couple of minutes if you don't have that much time, and then you can put it away and know where you are. You don't need to be like searching for the part where you left it.
I know.
And she was so honest in her book, and I think that was one of the things I liked about it, where she wasn't a person that was saying that her life was perfect.
No.
And she was very self-critical in like a positive way.
Yeah, I think,
If I was self-reflective is maybe
I think reflective, and I think she allowed, what I think is so important in general, is that you allow yourself to grow. I think we're still young. I mean, we're both 21, so we're, I think, in the middle,
babies.
Maybe at the start of even I'm not saying the start of starting life, but we're still figuring out a lot. I mean, we're still in our studies.
Exactly.
We're still trying to figure out which master's degree we want to do next year, right? So
I know.
We're still so young. But then I think I mean, we're getting into this later if you talk about, lessons from the book. But I think she's so self-reflective, but she allows herself to make the mistakes and then learn from them and say, okay, I made this mistake, but now I'm a better
lovingly,
and she allows herself to make mistakes as well as the people around her.
I think that's like the same way that I will look to you and you to me, that if one of us makes a mistake or whatever it is, that we look at each other lovingly instead of being critical. So I think she tries to look at herself in the way she would look a friend or her daughter or her son or whomever, and which I think is so good. That self-love, how corny it may sound, is very important.
Yeah, I think it shows that it's the basis of I would say your existence.
Yeah, I
almost.
think so.
Yeah, because you're human. It's life that you're going to
it's life.
make mistakes. Yeah, it's life. I mean, we're navigating it now, or we're trying to figure it out. I don't know, but I think that's why it's such a good book to read now, as for a person at the beginning of your 20s, but also when you're older. Yeah. I think at every age, this book is definitely.
But I'm happy that I'm reading it now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I think I might read it again in 5 years or something and see what I'm doing then. But I love that I'm reading, because we're getting into this later, but I mean, I've already, changed some things.
Yeah, you can notice already getting excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I wish you could see my face.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Okay. What does Untamed mean, Sanne?
Well, I mean, listen, you might find out.
Okay.
So you remember the quote at the beginning that I mentioned, where we were talking about glasses, and maybe for people who are listening or who are not listening, what did it mean, the glasses we were talking about?
Yeah, I think basically, what we're trying to do every day in society, right, is we're trying to put people into this, I don't know, into our own conceptions or the things that we think fit them.
Yeah. We want to understand.
We want to understand what is going on in our lives. I'm a woman, you're a woman, and he's a guy.
Yeah.
And if there's something in between, if you're something in between, a man or a woman, that's difficult for people to understand. Why? Because you do not fit into this picture that we created about what it should be.
It's the same about like sexuality. I think that if you're not straight, that people just sort of, it's like their mind is like doing overtime. There's just this blockage. It seems like people want to understand, and if they don't, then it can put you in like a box. That's just I find it very difficult.
Yeah, I think it's on like indeed the LGBT plus community, of course, but I think when you're straight, okay, but then are you gay or lesbian? If it's even with if you're bisexual, people find that difficult to understand, because it's like, oh, but so you're like both?
Yeah.
But there's probably one you like more, right? Why? Because they're trying to put you into these cages almost.
Exactly.
Into these.
But there's gender, sexuality, or which color? Like
it's race, ethnicity. It's I think personally,
religion.
I would say a lot of it is fluid.
Yeah,
I believe in the fluidity of people, I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's what she means with glasses. So it's different glasses, not the one you put on your head, but from which you would drink water, for example. The different things you have to fit in, and it's hard to I mean, you cannot really get into a different one.
And I think that's what she means by don't be classes, but just be all see. But unfortunately, that's not currently the society we're living in. I think that as well. I mean, I think we can only speak really from a female perspective, but it also feels like the classes for women are so much smaller and so much more restricted than those for men. Obviously, not saying that men don't have societal expectations that are put onto them. I mean, even if we're talking about, I remember a part in the book that she wrote on men and feminine traits, where she was saying that men in a certain way are being caged by not being allowed, or maybe just criticized by showing, and I put quote unquote, feminine traits. Now, I know you know that I'm very much against using gender traits, and I think you as well, but still, it also again shows that it's the feminine traits that are being criticized.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, an interesting take to get onto. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think it shows, I mean, it's something that we encounter in our day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Right? That,
I think so.
I think as I don't know, as women, if you show, I don't know, certain traits, or if you, I mean, I think we're trying to, I think for women in general, because I don't know what it's about, but like there's this insecurity, I think, or that we expect maybe from women, or that they're timid, or tamed, really. The title of the book says it. We're tamed, and I think society is teaching us from a very young age.
Be kind, be nice,
be tamed, and
be small.
I think, I mean, we're from the Netherlands, and in the Netherlands we have this, it's kind of this saying, but like, just be normal. Yeah. That's more than enough. Don't do anything more than being normal. Just be that, and then it's crazy enough. And I think that's especially for women, and I'm not generalizing, but I think especially if I look into my upbringing and my family as well, and this is not any criticism to them, of course, but that is sort of the motto. I think for me, I think I would say, I don't know, I won't say I'm the first, but I'm the first female, I think, in my family that is really outspoken about, well, my ambitions as in my career, or I'm outspoken about the fact that I'm not sure if I don't know if I will I'm ever blessed enough to have children. Yeah. I hope so one day, but at the same time, I'm also the first person who says I'm not really sure even if I'm blessed enough to have them, I don't know if I would want to have them, because I think in that sense, that's also, at least for my family, pretty untamed, I would say, to say these things. That when I say, oh, what do you want to become? I mentioned that I want to become the Minister of Foreign Affairs someday for the Netherlands. Yeah. And that's a big thing.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, but it's not very, I don't know. It's new, something. Yeah. I don't know. And then
even just seeing those ambitions, right? That sometimes feels like people are just looking at you and being like, well, good luck with that, you know? Yeah. You'll figure out that later, you know, you just want a family and you'll be happy. Like, it sometimes just feels like that, where you're being like, no, but I want a career, and I just, you know, I don't know what life's going to be, but I have my ambitions, and it doesn't always feel, I think, like you're being taken seriously. And I think that also, I think often in life, and I'm speaking from own experience, like I won't talk for like all women, but we are often not being taken seriously. And I think that also led at least me to like become insecure about things. I remember, and this it was such a powerful passage in the book. It just related to me so much, that she was talking that one of her kids was having a birthday party, and there were both boys and girls. And she walked into the room and she was like, okay, so everyone, would you like something to eat? And all the boys individually were like, yes, we want something to eat. And then the girls were looking at each other, and they were like, there was sort of this conversation going on between their eyes, being like, should we not? Should we eat something? And then collectively, like, one girl turned around very timidly and was like, no, thank you. Yeah. And I said, oh my goodness, I that is something that I have done before, where we're looking at each other like, do you want something to eat? No, yes, I don't know. I think
actually, this quote, I remember us discussing it when you were walking me from your home to the bus stop. Yes. And I told you, like, oh, I remember this quote that you just mentioned. And I was like, we literally did this afternoon, where your dad asked, do you want something to eat? Or he asked like in that, and then I looked at you and you looked at me, and I was like, no, I don't. And then you were like, no. Like, I think no, it's fine. And I remembered that quote, and I was like, wow, we literally we did that this afternoon. And I don't know, it just opens your eyes how we are almost programmed or being taught to
not trust ourselves is
to
what
not
it is,
to always
actually.
trust the other, and to not trust indeed yourself. Why? I don't know. You're a woman, but I mean,
you're always looking for confirmation from the other, and I mean that's I don't know. I remember actually I have this quote in front of me from the book about people I think teaching girls, especially at a young age, not to be untamed and to not trust in themselves. And I actually want to read a passage from it, and it's like this: girls and women sense this. We want to be liked and we want to be trusted, so we downplay our strength to avoid threatening anyone and invoking disdain. We do not accept compliments or mention our accomplishments. We temper, qualify, and discount our opinions. We step out of the way. We say, I feel like, instead of I know. We ask if our ideas make sense instead of assuming they do. And we apologize for everything. And I think I just recognize that a lot.
Yeah.
Where I studied for almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
And if there's I'm discussing with friends or other people in my environment, I'm discussing a topic of which I know that I'm quite capable of making my own opinions or even teaching others, and still I'll be I'm making a statement, I'll be at the end, but I'm not sure. Even though I am sure.
Yeah.
I know this stuff.
I know, I think now, for example, Dutch elections,
yes,
are coming up on the 17th of March.
Yes.
And yeah, it always is a point of discussion in my family, which is fine. I mean, I love the fact that there's a discussion now, that it's not just assumed that you're going to vote for one party, but that that you have the ability to go into a discussion and say, okay, you're going to vote for this party, but what does that mean? But I noticed, I can say that about myself. See, now I'm doing it. I'm going to say, I was going to say I know a lot about politics, and now I wanted to apologize for I was like, yeah, I can say that about myself. Okay, wow, I'm doing it. I'm literally doing it now. Okay, so I know quite a lot about a lot about politics. I mean, we've been studying it for a long time, and
yes, we have
for 3 years now. And yeah, I noticed in these discussions that indeed I'm doubting. I'm not even doubting myself.
No,
but I
the way you bring it.
I'm like, okay, but I mean, it may not be right.
Yes, even though you know you're right.
Yeah, it's. I think it also comes from the fact that, of course, at least that's what I've experienced as well. But that what she also says in the book, of course, but that when men are confident and when men are powerful and successful and happy, then they get respect. And it's like, oh, you're a confident person, and when
we like it about them.
Yeah, and when a woman is happy or powerful or I don't know, just confident, then there's a tendency to say, I don't know what it is about her, but I don't like her.
Yes.
She's a bit bitchy, bossy.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think that also makes you sort of doubt yourself, because even if you feel happy, even if you feel confident, and then people saying, I don't know what it is about her, she's a bit of a bitch.
I remember peeping people saying to me about their boss and being like, oh, she's such a bitch or whatever it is, and I remember saying, well, don't mind me asking, but if it was a man, would you say the same thing? And literally them saying, no, I wouldn't. I was like, then what is it about her that, other than the fact that she's a woman, that annoys you? And then it's sort of, they'll come to this stop where they're like, I don't know what it is actually. And I'm like, well, I know, because she's a woman.
Because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it goes, it basically goes against everything that we've been taught, right?
I think so.
Because we should be, maybe silent or... Yeah.
You shouldn't trust yourself.
You shouldn't trust yourself, trust the other.
Small.
And then, and I think if you...
should be caged.
Yeah, should be caged. And I think if you then say, she's a bit bossy, she's a bit of a bitch, you could say, I don't know, you kind of weaken her to say, look, she indeed needs someone else because I don't know, like you weaken her position or something.
Yeah, you don't take her seriously. The only thing you're talking about her in a negative way, and if I'm hearing people talk about that of other women about women in positions that I would like to eventually get into, you feel like you're not going to be taken seriously, whatever your ambitions are, and I have noticed that also in conversations where again I'm not being taken seriously with the things I know, where people, the term maybe doesn't sound very positive, but it's because it's not positive, which is where a lot of mansplaining happens.
Yeah.
And I used to not get that, or I used to not notice it consciously. And when I learned about the term, and I looked around in my life, I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. And I think that's why you're often saying, well, I don't know, or I'm not sure, or you know what, but it might not be the case, and please, don't take whatever I say as hard truth. Where you're like, well, maybe you should.
Yeah, and I think it's also the situations where you find yourself in. At least that's if I speak for myself. I was just telling you this story this morning. But I think it may be nice to tell again, just very briefly, like when at my job, we got a new manager, and then, so he asked me like, okay, and what do you see yourself becoming? And I said, well, I'm going into HR. I love HR. I think it's one of the most important parts of a business, especially the diversity and inclusion element. Well, you know this. I'm obsessed with diversity and inclusion. I think it's so important. So that's why I told him, I was like, I think I want to be a global head of HR, or I don't know, the chief of people or employee happiness, or the global head of diversity and inclusion for a company. That's my ambition. And he started laughing, and I was like, why are you... I remember thinking, like, why are you laughing at me? I wasn't sure. And then he was like, okay. And then I was like, yeah, and ultimately, I already told you, I want to become the new, or at least a future, Minister of Foreign Affairs.
I know.
And he started laughing again. He's like, oh, it's the first time I hear a woman speaking out such ambitions. And I don't know, I was thinking, I don't think he even meant it in like, I think it's his unconscious sort of bias, I would say, against maybe women, or what he thinks women are in a way. And I think, I don't know, I felt a bit taken back by it.
When you told me this story this morning, I was so annoyed, and I was like, when he was saying that I something like, I haven't heard a woman say that, or something like that, I was like, well, that's not weird, is it? If that's your reaction.
If that's your reaction, if you're going to laugh at me, then...
of course women are not going to tell you their ambitions, because, and obviously I think women should be able to tell their ambitions everywhere. I was like, but it's not weird that they're not telling you this, because if that's how you're going to treat them, then of course they don't want to tell you.
Yeah, and I think that's coming back, to the point of that Glennon makes in her book, where, about this confidence of women, and that they, because they are so tamed, they are being tamed, that it's, I don't know, that it also, it almost it enforces itself, right? It enforces the whole situation.
It's like a vicious cycle that's just continuing.
Yeah, it's continuing, and I don't know. I think it's, that's why it's so important that this book has been written. And I think, I mean, I know a lot of women read it. Yeah. But, I mean, please, guys, go and read it as well.
I think so too. Yeah.
This is so important.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I think rounding up the cycle about, the thing about you're being taught that you're not taken seriously, you should make yourself small, don't attract too much attention, be insecure, and then those are the words you're using for yourself, so often being like, I'm not sure, and that also again impacts the way that people perceive women to be. So women are insecure, and women are not that ambitious, or whatever it is, and that's sort of, it's continuing, and we're teaching generation upon generation. And for someone to write a book like this, and I'm sure there are many other books that we're going to discuss.
I mean, there's still a lot of books that we're going to discuss, and that we have to read.
But it does make it sometimes you know things, but you need to read them.
Yeah.
You need someone to say them to you where you're like, yes, I mean, I knew this, but somebody voicing their opinion and putting it on paper just makes me be able to either relate it to someone else or relate it to myself in a very clear manner. And I think she teaches not to be apologetic. And she teaches us self-love. But also the thing about, if I have an opinion, if I'm doing something, I used to be saying, well, that's because.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm trying to not say because I don't own anybody an explanation about that. No, you don't. No. And I think that's also that's so important. And I'm trying. I mean, we're both learning, obviously, but
still, I mean, and like I said, we're so young, and I think I think. Like I said it before, but I think this is a book for everyone at every age.
I think so. Every gender.
Every gender, and also told you, like, I wish my mother would have read this when she was younger, and even now, I mean, I think I'm going to encourage her to read it.
It's awesome.
Because I think it would be a great book for her as well. But I think she teaches, ultimately, I think that's what this book does. I don't know if she teaches us. I think she awakens us. I think she awakens something in you to say, go and teach that to yourself. I think
this primal fire within you.
Yeah, she's activating this fire, I would say. She's not like she's giving us some tips, I would say, on how she just explains how she did this. Yeah. But the thing I love is the island where
famous island.
The famous island which she mentions, where she says, I'm on an island with my family and I'm not letting in any negativity. Mm-hmm. You can come onto it's our safe place, and it's I know, but we have this our home is the island, and I know there's only love in this home and there's positivity, and don't let in negativity. I mean, you can make that decision for yourself.
Yeah, you can bring up the bridge, like an old castle where you have the water around it and a bridge, and you can pull up the bridge and you can choose not to let in people or thoughts or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's so important. What she mentions is, stay there and surround yourself with people who, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to be around people who will tell you that everything you're doing is great and that doesn't offer any constructive feedback. No, but it's being around people who will still like positively criticize you, who will in a way are being honest about you, but they do have that positivity. I think that is so important. Why? Because you have the environment and the opportunity to also develop that self-trust and that self-love, which I think is so important nowadays that you have. I think there's so much on the news and this image you need to again fit in, because you need to fit in all these different things, all these glasses
for people to sort of accept you.
And I mean, I don't think anyone fits in.
No.
And I think isn't that the beautiful thing about being human? Yeah. Is that we're all different, and no one is perfect.
No, exactly.
I think that's what she empowers within us, and for everyone who reads the book.
Yeah, exactly. I think I think that's a very important message that she gives you. That it's trust upon yourself, and of course it's okay if that's not something you're able to do right now, and if you need other people to lean upon, and that's absolutely fine. But it's so important to, and it's something that you obviously need to work on, but to be able to say, okay, I'm not perfect, but me is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it's me is first. Sort of, it's not an egoistic thing. It's I think that's where it should start. And for me, a thing that I recently also started doing, and I think you as well, is then what she also talks about is meditation, where she'd be so busy, and then she decided that 10 minutes a day she would lock herself in a closet and she would just meditate, or at least be silent for 10 minutes. And in the beginning it was very hard, and at some point she started really being able to listen to what she wanted. Yeah. And obviously, I'm quite bad at making choices. Yeah. An overthinker to the max, but I think it's something that I'm working on. But it's to be so silent that you can sort of talk with yourself, and you start to get what it is that you want, and not what other people want, and not to let yourself be influenced, but what you want. And I think for me that was also a very nice thing. So I don't have a closet in which I can I'm gonna lock myself up, but I can just 10 minutes a day take for myself. And just listen.
I do it every morning now when I started meditating actually after reading Untamed. Because I was so, I don't know, she the idea of it grasped me a lot, and I do it every morning now. Just put my alarm 10 minutes earlier, and I meditate for 10 minutes. And in the beginning, I always said to myself and also to other people, I was kind of bragging about it. Meditation, that's not something for me.
I remember you were saying to me, like, meditation is not something for me.
No, I'm never going to do it.
A week later, you're like, I started meditating. Yeah.
Same with yoga, right? I was like, yoga? No. Originally, I'm a football player. I've played football for 11 years until I had to stop because of an injury. I'm quite, I think tough in a way. I'm like, yoga, that's never. And I think then indeed it started with meditation, and a week later I texted you, I was like, Sanne, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning,
let's do
yoga.
I know.
And
it's like, it's mostly 3 times a week where we do yoga
3 times
together,
a week,
right?
where we do yoga together. And it's just, aside from this bonding moment we have every morning when we've just woken up, we are looking like,
zombies maybe?
Zombies. We're very tired, let's just put it that way. And I don't know, we just do 10 minutes or 15 minutes of yoga, and it feels so nice.
It's a good way to start
why?
a day.
Because it's a good thing, a good way to start a day, meditating or yoga, but also you learn to trust your body, I would say, and your inner thoughts. And I think that's so important to realize. Your brain and your body, it's all connected. It's not two separate things. It's all connected. And
that's why meditation is so complementary to yoga.
Definitely. Yeah. So, all in all, I think we're going to conclude this podcast for a bit. But,
I think so. I think we talked way longer than we were supposed to.
Than we were planning on, but that's fine. I think it shows how interested and passionate we are about this topic, because I think we could have talked for a whole day. We wouldn't have been finished.
Well, then okay, let me ask you something. So if people need, why should people read this book? Let me start with that. Why, like, just shortly, why should someone read
shortly?
This book? I know, exactly. That's the key word.
Why should people read this book?
Yeah.
I can of course only speak from my own experience, but I definitely feel as if I'm untamed, or at least more untamed than I was. I'm less tamed than I was before, and I think it triggers you to think again about everything that you've been taught in your childhood, in your upbringing, in your studies, everything, in the relationships you have with friends, most importantly, in the relationship you have with yourself. It forces you to think about it again and to make an active change in the way you are in life. And I think that's what this book does. It triggers something. I think you said it really well. You said that it activates, it ignites this fire that we have, that we all have, but that has just been, I don't know, put out maybe, or well, the flame is still there, but it just ignites that again. And I remember feeling it after reading this book, and I felt powerful. I was like, I know. I'm gonna show this world what I got. I think that's what the book did for me, and I think that's why it's such a beautiful book to read. And for you?
Yeah, I think she started the book with saying that she went to the zoo and she saw this cheetah, which was sort of being tamed by, I don't know, some person. And she looked at a cheetah and she just saw that this is like an animal that's being tamed, but it should not be. It's like there's this, and she was sort of, that's the thing and the main theme she was kind of relating in the entire book, where it's like, we're all these cheetahs, and we should be like untamed as hell, so we should be uncaged in such a way. And I thought, yes, exactly. And I think that's one of the reasons I think people should read this book. It sort of, it brings awareness, I think, on certain topics that sometimes could be good to know. But for me personally, most importantly, I think it helped me, it sort of struck some of those sort of restrictions off of me. Yeah. Sort of some of those doubts or things that I'm doing in my life where I'm doubting myself and I'm not being that confident person that I know I can be, and sort of not just helping me release myself in such a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm doing it again.
It makes sense.
It makes
if
sense,
this is what
exactly.
you feel, then that's what you feel. And
exactly, she just like releases a part of you, or helps you to do, because you're doing it on your own. But I think that for me personally was the most important thing.
I think if I can, as a sort of a final thing, I can say that, it's what I also said before, but she doesn't force you to do anything. She just has her own point of, she explains her own, I mean, at the end the book is a memoir, and of course we all take action points from it, but I think she doesn't I would say bring the message as something obligatory or something that you should do. I think she shows her life and all the advantages she got from being untamed, and she of course also did that with the help of other people. I think it shows the story of also involving other people in that journey. I mean, ultimately it's the journey of, I would say, self-love and self-trust, confidence. But I think that's also the case for us, right? When I told you I'm reading this and I'm working on this, you ask me every now and then, oh, how's it going? And you do it in a supportive way. And if you involve your friends, or in her case, her wife and her children, and everyone, it creates this community of people. And I think ultimately it's something that, if we want to see a change, it's something that we all should all do together, right? And I think that's what she encourages, and that's what I love so much about this book.
Exactly. Uncage yourself.
And
I mean, that's like the final point where don't be water in a glass, be a fucking sea.
Be a sea and overflow all the glasses and be fluid and be... she has this part, it says you do not need to hide any part of yourself, right? It's already a battle a lifelong battle for a woman to be free and to be whole, because the world is so keen on bending her. So be that sea.
Thank you
for listening.
Yeah, I mean, if you're still here, that's amazing. And
thanks for your time. And we're hopefully going to speak to you soon.